This is totally for me, so. Ended with heartbreak. I can see this as a Netflix film, and I need Netflix to like find this. Welcome back to the Reading Girls. My name is Jen, and today we are talking about the last 5 arcs I read on the NetGalley app. I am so privileged to receive every single arc I get. And today I am going to talk about the last 5 arcs. This is part 3 of this series. The purpose of... Okay, I need to just stop the middle of the video and show you what I got. This is my little life update, is that I got an 8-week-old kitten. She's 9 weeks now, but I'm excited. I've never had a personal pet before, and she is crazy. Her name is Claire, and I call her Claire Bear, and she really likes my chest and sleeps on it a lot. We're in our shared library, which is not my bedroom, so she is like, what's happening? Why do I want to climb on these books? And now we have to watch her. So
I'm just running around chasing her.
My sister is running around chasing her.
I'm the cat snatcher right now.
The life of the Reading Girls is never boring. Let's say that. But yeah, I'm really excited. I never had a pet. I wanted a cat for years, and I'm single in my 30s. I like books, and I have a cat now. So let's see in 5 years how many cats I actually end up having at this point. But Claire's my first, and she's a gorgeous little girl. She was a barn kitty, and now she's an indoor kitty. I don't know if you can hear her purring, but she is purring so heavily right now. So she's going to be in a lot of our videos because I need to watch her. I'm a cat mom now, and this is a toddler. Back on track, this video is about the 5 books I read and how I like it, how my feelings, and what I appreciate about this book, because most of these books do need to be hyped up. The only book I ever really hated, and I personally hate it, is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I am going to shade it anytime I can. So, but these books deserve the hype. These books need some recognition, and I'm one of many of these ARC readers that got a privilege. So let's just talk about them. But hold your horses. If this is one of your first videos you ever seen from me, I am going to recommend 2 books. Brighter Than Before by Courtney Welsh. I love that book. That book came out in the month of June, and I give it 4 stars. I'm still thinking about it. I read that 3 months ago. Highly recommend for a good woman-led fiction. I'm a woman in my 30s, and the female lead is in her 40s, and her name's Claire. Not because of I did not name her after the cat. The cat's on the bookcases again. Anyway, I really liked the writing, and I'm ready to buy more books by Courtney Welsh, read her more, because that book really made me love her. I didn't truly love the story in some aspects, but I want to read her more. And yes, this book did come out by the video, and I'm approving it. Second approval I have to recommend, and I do have a physical copy, is Romantic Heroes by Christy Greenwood. I read this, I think this was my first or second NetGalley ARCs, and I truly love this book. It had one of my favorite endings. I love a good croaky character, and this was a fun time read. I did have my issues with it, but of course, who doesn't have an issue with some romance books? And that reminds me of another book. And since we're talking about past ARC reads, and it came out in June, I have to highly recommend Shadow Reaper. This is amazing YA fantasy. I love Lynette's writing. I can't wait for book 2. These 3 books I've read before, and I highly recommend. Since this all came out in June of 2026, I just have to re-hype these up. And all these books I just said were 4s or above, so I'm privilege. So let's dive in my last 5 books, and I had some good bangers, man. I had some good books that I've read, and I'm really excited to read more of this author, more of the series, and other stuff. So I hope you are ready to dive in. My 11th arc I ever read was Ruinous Vows by Ivy Marie, and I gave that a 4.5 star rating. If you didn't know, this is book 2, and it finished the duology of Immortal Consequences. I gave this book, Immortal Consequences, a 3.75. I did like it. It wasn't the I liked it. It was intriguing. It was enough for me to continue the series, and I got the arc of this book. Y'all, I love the ending of this duology. I cried. I love it so much. So, if you don't know, I can't even talk about what is book 2, but let's talk about book 1 for a second. Welcome to Blackwood Academy, a school located at the edge of the afterlife. Once a bull passes through the Academy ARC's gates, there is no way out, except if they trumpet at the decimal. Winning allows a single student to be granted a choice: graduate or join Blackwood's magical elite and cross over to the mystery unknown other side. Ren and August are fierce rivals. Their every encounter training the lines between hate and burning desire. Irene has never cared for the rules and would destroy everything to win. Even her only friend, Misaka. Oliver had almost given up on securing the nomination, but now he'll do anything to keep his beloved Emilio with him. Each of these 6 students has their own motivation to win, and their own secrets to hide. But they aren't the only ones playing Blackwood's game, and the sinister Shadow Force threatens existence as it's know it. So you start with a Termite style book, and then what happens in this book goes into Ruinous Vows. And how I would describe Ruinous Vows is I came in for the vibes, and I ended with heartbreak. I truly love this series. I would not shut up about it just because the way the second book explores all the themes and the way these 6 characters' journeys end up, how conflicts and resolutions happen, and the portrayals, the secrets, the adventure of this book. In book number 1, you do get that Termite trials and type thing going on, but book 2 is more of what happened after book 1, which I really liked. And I was hooked. I don't know why. I literally don't know why. It just hooked me. I was so there for the characters. I love every 6 characters you follow, and I did cry at the end just because how the story wrapped up. I just truly love learning all the struggles and secrets. I just felt every single character was a person, and now they are a ghostly Grim Reaper, but I just love this book so much, and I can't wait to just talk about it more. And that was my first out of these 5, and and I think the only negative, it was really slow in the beginning, but again, how I said, when it hit the 25% mark, I was so locked in, and I was there for the characters, and that's why I love this series. Because the first one was okay. I was there for the vibes, and it was okay, and I enjoyed it. But the second book, it literally made me cry, because you got to know more of the characters, more of the background, and I just love it. This series follows 6 point of views, and it's in 3rd person writing style, so you get to know a little bit more, and I think it really works with this type of story. when you're following so many characters. But again, when I was reading it, follow a lot of characters in a story. Some of the like voice like carries over, like the two female leads might, the voice might carry over. But I always felt like when I read a chapter of Ren's story versus Irene, I could tell who I was listening to or following, which I really appreciate when it's in a third person point of view. I can tell just how the language is or the vibes, and I really appreciated this. I am going to say I did see some plot twists in this fantasy book, but there was some that blew me out of the water, and that's why I got a 4.5. I needed preferences. This is a YA dark romantasy. There's some dark subject matters in here, like torture, and I'm surprised. I'm like really surprised. But again, I think just the ages of these characters and the vanilla of the romance makes it a YA novel, even though it's definitely, the subject matter is heavy. I need a preference that this book comes out July 14th, 2026. So if you want to pick up Immortal Consequences and read that and get to book 2, great duology, highly recommend it. It surprised me. I'm here for the characters. This is a very driven character duology, and it deserved a lot of hype. My number 12 arc I've ever read was Behind Five Willows by June R. Eyre. I really like this book. Behind Five Willows is a YA romance, historical romance, where you follow it's inspired by Pride and Prejudice with Korean history. So I'm gonna be real honest, if I butcher some of this terminology, I am sorry. But let's talk about the synopsis. As the dutiful second eldest daughter of the poor family, society would have Haewon believe that her only hope of a decent life is to marry well. But during a time of a rampant government censorship and a book banning, she instead works as an illegally book transcriber in order to make a little extra money. It is dangerous work, but she loves it, especially when she gets to transcribe the work from her favorite author, known as Black Lotus. When her older sister becomes smitten with a wealthy young gentleman, Haewon is roped into chaperoning them during their courtship, which wouldn't be so terrible if it wasn't for the young man's uptight and annoying best friend who also accommodates them. As the only son of a noble, Soju has a lot expected of him. Wealth, status, responsibility. Certainly not frivolous and often elite activities such as reading fiction. But Jun loves to do something even more scandalous. Writing. He's kept his work secret from his father and friends, but with each passing day, the pressure of being his father's son and disappearing actions of the government makes Soju question the purpose of it all. The only thing keeping him going are encouraging letters he receives from his transcriber known as Magpie. When his best friend falls hard for a girl of a lower social status, so Jun finds himself forced to act as a chaperone to the infatuated couple, along with the girl's younger sister, who is as irritating as she is judgmental. But as Haewon and Sojun spend more time together, they begin to suspect they have judged each other too quickly. Some tropes you're going to find in this book are, it's a YA romance, but it's like a historical romance with Korean liturgical. One thing I really liked about this book was, in the beginning, it like tells you a little bit of history of Korea and like the set, like the period set where this romance is happening. There's a little expert of this history and what was currently going on in this, which was really cool because I didn't know that. You also have this hidden identity going on, this like writing letters and it's inspired by Pride and Prejudice, which really made me really want to check this off on my reading list because I've been liking K-dramas and I love Pride and Prejudice, so that was a little treat to me. So overall, I did give this a 4 stars, which was really good. I actually really did enjoy this book. There were moments that this made me swoon in parts. I was like, I can see this happening in my K-drama, like the slow motion, the hands touching, the looks that they were giving each other. Yeah, I could see it. I was really surprised that I fell in love with this book, but again, I do like my K-dramas, and it is inspired by a K-drama / Pride and Prejudice, so I was totally, this is totally for me. So one thing I really was loving about this book, it made me love the history of like Korea, learn a little bit more of a society I didn't really grow up in. I'm American, and look at me. I'm not Korean. But just to learn more about another country and history was very, like, makes you see the light of how big the world is. And this small book can change a different reader's point of view. And I did not know that this little book ban going on was actually happening in Korea during this time. If you read a book set in World War II, it did happen, but like fictional characters, and this book is set in Korean Dynasty, where a book ban going on with these characters, and I just really appreciate that I just read a new take on the world. So the thing about this book is that I thought the ending was a cookie cutter ending, and I don't know, I was reading, loving it, and then it felt like a Hallmark ending, which, not bad, but I just expect a little bit more from the beginning to the end, and I'm getting a cat, and that's just the biggest ending thing. I got a cat. I also noticed that the conflicts brought into this, one of the negatives about this book was it felt like a cookie cutter ending, and some of the conflicts didn't like wrap up. There was some like open ending concepts that just never found solutions. It gave me the same reaction when I watched Tracker, the CBS show. I just love Tracker in the way that like it's just an easy background show. I don't really have to pay attention to it because the conflicts just I don't know, it's one of those kind of shows, and it just felt like this book had not all the conflicts solved, or they were just like a little bit more open-ended, which I didn't like. I needed to know, so that's why I did not give this 5 stars, because the ending wasn't up my alley in a way that I just wanted more. I think I wanted more for the ending. Even though this book is a standoff one book, I can see a spin-off because we do have a younger sister, and I can totally see her finding a love, because I need her to find love at this point. This book is written as a third-person dual POV type of thing, so you are in third person. Sorry, just checking on my cat. If I look over here, I'm looking at my cat. So this book came out in May 26, 2026, and I still recommend this. I think this is such a cute little romance, and I was giggling. This book made me giggle, so take that as a will, and I actually want to pick up more June Eyre's work. I was very impressed by her as an author. So number 13, I got to read Married with Benefits by Ellie Palmer. I gave this a 3.5 star with a 1 star chili pepper spice. So let's talk about it. For better or worse, it's just the beginning. Lonnie Davis can't wait for the day she'll be able to escape her tiny Wisconsin town, but she's not even close to covering her health insurance premium and pricing migraine medication, let alone saving up enough to start over someplace new. That is until Lonnie learns that her archaic legal doctrine of advice possessions, she inadvertently squandered her way into owning a marvel of modern architecture. But Lonnie only owns the house. The surrounding property and the lakeside money pit the previous owner used as a front to deal illegal reptiles has been willed to Elliot Hodge, a DC architect who wants to rent out the place to a fellow architectural lovers. Their assets are tied together, but neither can move forward without the other. Desperate, Elliot proposed an unconventional arrangement. Marry him for a health insurance. In exchange, Lonnie will allow him to buy her out. Win-win. Lonnie will finally have a way out of town, and he'll own the house designed by his idol. Married in name only and living together while fixing up the property, Lainey and Elliot find themselves unable to keep the hopes and dreams or bedsheets from getting enshrined. And as their connection grows, Lainey no longer sure what's more terrifying, leaving Elliot behind or letting him go. My cat right now is like, why am I locked up? I want to explore the library, and I'm like, girl, I'm doing a video. So back to Married with Benefits. The tropes include marriage of convenience, which is one of my favorite tropes, under one roof, and a small town romance or vacation spot area, which are like, these tropes are one of my favorite romance tropes. And this book gave me so many like good vibes and feelings when I was reading it. I just love the atmosphere of this town, the environment, the chaoticness of it. There was parts in this book that made me laugh out loud. I loved the chaoticness of this book. I can see this as a Netflix film, and I need Netflix to like find this, because I just recently watched Letters to Isabel, and I can definitely see Netflix touching this base of this book. Like, I was really surprised about the subplots of this book. Like, I'd be reading this book, and all of a sudden there would be a subplot, and it would just enhance this book with this quirkiness, the craziness, and the chaoticness. You are never going to be bored of this book. There was always this nice subplot that just made you want to keep reading, because I'm like, is this real? Does this actually happen in small towns? Like, I was so surprised about the plots and how the situations that these characters got in themselves. I was really impressed. And I'm really super impressed, and I appreciate that these characters felt real. Like, Lainey, or Lonnie, I'm really butchering her name, felt so real. I feel her. Like, as a person who only makes 30 to 40K a year right now, I understand the feeling of being poor. I understand saving up to go to the dentist. Like, I haven't been to the dentist in years. Like, I understand like the struggle, and I understand like health insurance is crazy expensive in America, and I really connected with the female lead. How about that? And I really love that you get a down bad man like Elliot in this book, because he is simping hard for Lainey. And another thing about this book is that you get a really chaotic, great female relationship with Bree and Lainey. Again, I really love the atmosphere of this whole book. Like, it was just a fun, chaotic time. And again, I think definitely Netflix needs to pick this up. Even though I loved most of the book, the only biggest negative I have about this book is the third break act that happened, and the reason why it happened. I'm gonna say I hate the ending, because the reason was so justified, and this book hasn't come out yet when I'm filming, so I can't really like talk more about the ending because I don't want to spoil it. But I just want to say that I love the characters, and I understand why they broke up. I understand why their third breakup happened, because there is one in this book, and I'm having issues, and I want to tell more about it maybe in a future video when the book is actually out. And just think of my reaction right now, like, it's so frustrating, but I still give it a 3.5 because it made me giggle. It kept me interested, and I would recommend it to people who can handle heavier, more realistic characters. Like, if again, it felt like human. It felt like a human character. Oh, and another thing about this book, I just really hated the flow of it. I had to reread a lot of this paragraphs. I lost myself in the scenes. I would be like reading. Then I'm like, wait, what happened here? Like, the transitions did not execute correctly, which I love reading books that can flow, and that always gives me a higher rating. So if I struggle reading your book, I'm sorry. It's gonna give a lower rating, even though I really love this, like, the atmosphere and the vibes of this book. Sorry. This book is written in third person, and it follows one main character, Lonnie Laney. So similar like what Harry Potter is. So you don't see his point of view, and you don't see why he does what he does. And it's a standalone romance book. It's not an interconnected romance, and if there is, I can see her best friend finding love, which would be interesting to see if the author expands that universe. This book is the third book of this author. Speaking of, I have this book by the same author, 4 Weekends and a Funeral. So if you like this book, you might like Married with Benefits. And Married with Benefits comes out July 21st, 2026. And go and get your copy. If you really like this book, I think you will like Married with Benefits, just from the same writing style. I haven't read this yet, but I am keeping this around because I did read her. And since I gave it a 3.5 star, I am going to try and pick up this book because this sounds like a fun time read as well. And if I know anything about Ellie Palmer's writing at this point, she makes really strong female leads. Her characters feel real. Like, it sounds like her books could be like a Netflix film, which I always love in a good romance. You know what I'm saying? Overall, I just am going to read more of her. This book, I really enjoyed it. It was good like 4 or 5 until the third act breakup happened to me, and I can't even talk about it because I don't know when this video is going to be posted. But just to tell you that this is at least my having issues with this, and anyway, so yeah. 14th was Libraries and Lattes by Lilia Hazel, and I gave this a 3-star with a 0.5 spice level. And you need to know this is a YA romance. So let's talk about it. 1 season, 2 choices of love. Willows small town is at best in the fall. Thick, crisp air, golden leaves, bonfires, hayrides, and pumpkin spice. It's cozy and company, pretty much perfect. But sometimes Willa wonders if it's destined for more. Then she is left some money by a distant aunt with one condition. It must be used to see the world. The rest of the world unfolds in an alternating chapters where she makes one choice or another about her inheritance. In one strand, Willa decides to study travel journalism, but she has to hit the books if she wants to be accepted into the program. That's where she spends her weekends, in the library, where Theo, a grumpy, out-of-towner, also hangs out. He might think everyone in this town is beneath him, but there's something something irresistible about him when he smiles. In the other strand, Willa begins planning a perfect round world trip. Meanwhile, she's working at her favorite coffee shop, where she suddenly gets a new boss. Monotypically, James, who's back in his hometown to nurse a broken heart. Each potential choice leads Willa to love, and the final chapter is a classic happy ever after. So this is just a really like cozy, easy read, but with a twist of a YA romance, because you are going to have these alternating timelines. So you're going to have two love interests and two conflicts, and it's a really interesting story. Some tropes you're going to find is definitely a small town romance, and it's set in fall. So you have one side is Grumpy Sunshine, another one is the boss's son. What I really liked about this book is that it does have that two love interests. You have your two timelines, and you've seen like, what if this happens versus what if this happens, which I kind of like. I kind of like when you see two alternated timelines and all the possibilities that happen. After reading this, I did want to visit the town. It sounded like a cool town to hang out. It's like based off in Maine, so you get like Maine vibes. I need to say that I really like the concept of this book, and each timeline, if Willa makes a choice, there's consequences in each timeline. So there was like one choice that was really hard to read, but I'm glad like it happened. I really like that there was a lot of communication between Willa and her best friend. I really liked the friendship between Willa and her best friend, and the choices that she makes with the guys and then makes with her best friend, and what kind of consequences and drama this book had. There is a lot of like high school drama. I have to like say that this book is very high school, because Willa is a senior in high school. Willa is a senior in high school, which is, you know, she's 17, 18, whatever senior high schools are now. And the biggest negative about this book is that both love interests are in their 20s. Yes, so Willa is like 17, and both the love interests, so James and Theo, they're in their 20s. I think James just finished college, so he's 21, 22, and Theo says that he's 20. I don't know, that's my biggest ick about this book, is when you're reading it, you realize that these men are actually more worldly experienced than Willa, even though Willa is like, I know all, she's all knowing, right? She's a senior in high school, she knows more, right? We all thought of that, like, she's a typical teenage girl who thinks she knows better. Which leads me to this book has very hot and cold moments with each love interest. And I'm gonna say this now, I really like Theo's story. I like how Willa treats Theo. I love how Theo treats Willa, and they actually communicate better than James' story, because I think James is toxic, and I'm going to say that now. James just has a more hot and cold moments than Theo's story. I think James does not support Willow as well, because you know that he is the boss's son, and technically James is Willa's boss at this point. I can understand why teenage girls would fall in love with this book. I'm a woman in my 30s, and I'm just seeing the red flags in this book, so I'm definitely not the audience of this book. I want to talk more about it, but I just can't spoil it. But I did like the ending, by the way. It wasn't that bad of an ending. It left it open ending, and I also did like that it was like 250 pages. So if you need a quick, interesting read, I would pick this up. This book is written in first-person POV, so you follow Willa in both timelines. So this is Lily Hazel's debut novel, so I want to be really critical and nice about it at the same time. But it's her debut novel, and it gave me some little beige flags going around. This is a very seasonal book, so speaking of seasonal books, she is having another book coming out set in the winter season. It's like the same concept with the two different timelines, so let's see how she does. Overall, I really have to explain that this book, I really like the concept. I want to read more of this like dual love interests, but make it a little bit longer and actually have better love interests, because I really liked that. Like, I had to choose which love interest I really liked. And knowing that, again, there's no cheating because it's alternate timelines, so there's no cheating involved. It gave me a love triangle without giving a love triangle. That's how I view this book. And this book comes out August 25th, 2026. And my bet is it's going to be the Barnes & Noble $5 book because it's very fall, it's very easy, and it looks like it's going to get sprayed edges, so. And let's leave on a high note. My 15th spot, my 15th book I've read, Yes Chef by Grace Riley, and I gave this a 4.5 star with a 3-star spice level. I'm gonna say this now, I absolutely love this book, and I'm definitely gonna get a trophy of this book when it comes out. But let's talk what this book is about. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. After a public meltdown in the dining room of one of Manhattan's most elite restaurants, Chef Jack Hartman is back in his southern Floridan hometown. Angry, grieving, and saddled with an unwanted storefront his late mentor left him, his life is spinning out of control. And that's before Poppy Whitfield, the blonde, bubbling, utterly infuriating daughter of his former boss, shows up at his door. Poppy needs to escape from her disappointing family, her horrible ex-boyfriend, and her reputation as someone who has never taken anything seriously. But more than that, she wants to prove herself, and she has the plan to do it. Unfortunately, the plan involves Jack Hartman, the most arrogant, prickly, intimidating man she ever had the pleasure of throwing a shrimp at. She knows Jack is desperate to come back from his unsubstantiated firing, so she processed a deal, working together to open a reprint version of his mentor's restaurant. He'll handle the menu, and she uses her skills as a social media influence to sell the hell out of its grand opening. If she and Jack can make the restaurant a success, it would be an accomplishment no one can deny, and a ticket for them both to return to New York. Jack is intrigued, but only on his terms. If Poppy's going to work for him, she must learn the ropes of the entire business, including how to cook, from him. As sparks fly both in and out of kitchen and tensions reach a boiling point, Poppy and Jack are left wondering, could they be a perfect pairing, or the whole experiment is a recipe for disaster? Sorry for my English, but English is my first language, so if you like a grumpy sunshine book, this is definitely for you. The tropes include grumpy and sunshine, definitely grumpy and sunshine, co-worker / working together, and a dislike to lovers. And both of these characters are down on their luck, and they have to work together to be successful in life. Okay, let's lock in, because this book was so good. This book was so good. I love a good grumpy sunshine trope, and this delivered so hard. And it's compared to be The Bear meets It Happened One Summer, and it definitely feels like that. The way that the book made me fall in love with food and these characters were so good. The way that the tension was built up between the characters, how they've been noticing that, like, oh, the tats on his arm, or the way that she puts her hair up, or the way that she saves a cat, or just say Poppy is chaotic but in a fun way. I also really like that this had a really good AHAD representation, and it really showed why people who have this is great cooks, because I don't know if you guys have cooked anything, but you're constantly moving, and a person who has AHAD really do well in a cooking environment, because they have to keep moving. Their brain is always moving. Jack has that, and he uses why he loves cooking because it helps him. I've said this before, but I was really surprised that this book made me fall in love with cooking. Like, I've been watching Top Chef this year, but just the way, like, making these food items that Jack does, I was just so impressed. I don't know if Grace did some, like, research on this, but as a person who has no skill in cooking, I was really appreciating this book. I do believe in this romance, and I can see it being very good and helpful, and I really like how each character was very front up with their feelings. It was very honest with each other. I mean, they did hide some stuff because that's natural. You do hide stuff from your partner or friends with benefits. I really did love the characters. I did love the storyline, and I think I read it in like 3 days. I was so hooked on this book, and oh god, such a great romance. A great romance book. I think my biggest negative about this book was maybe because I'm biased, but I thought Poppy could be unreasonable at times. I think she was kind of selfish, but that could be just her character, and that was totally fine. And another thing, I felt like the ending was too clean again. If you know me, I don't know why. I just felt like something happened in the book, and then it just felt like it cleaned up in the last 5% easily. I love the ending, and I appreciate the ending, but I just felt like something was off about it, and that's another negative. But again, remember, I give this a 4.5. So it was not a true 5 because I did find the ending subpar. I know, I felt so guilty saying anything negative about this book because I just truly love this book, and I can't wait to get my trophy, and I'm definitely gonna get my trophy. This book is written in a dual POV with a first person writing style, so you actually get to know what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and what they're like seeing. Like, I'm seeing her eyes, I see his tats, like stuff like that. This is a standalone book. This is the 5th book by Grace Riley, and like most authors nowadays, she was an indie author who got traditionally published, and this is her first traditionally published work. First one. I think her other works might get traditionally published. I really don't know anything about that, but I just know that this is her newest book. This comes out July 21st, 2026, and you know this girl's running to the bookstore to just get her trophy when I can. Only when I have the money, because I did read it and I do have other books I want that come out July 21st. But overall, I'm really impressed by Grace Riley's work, and I want to read her other series, her sports series that she wrote. I'm excited that I found another author I really want to read. Well, that concludes my last 5 arcs. I hope this video helped you pick up your newest read if you were on the fence or something. But I also wanted to say thank you to NetGalley and all the publishers that let me read these books, because I really appreciate reading. My overall reading experience, I feel like I should have read more, but because you guys notice, I do have a cat, and now my reading is kind of scattered, and I still need to get through Thorn and Glass by October, and I'm on Assassin's Blade, and I haven't even started it. I read the first 2 books, and I haven't read Assassin's Blade. I'm slacking. I did not say this earlier, but at the end of the video, I always say which book I really recommend out of the 5 I read, and I think I've chosen Yes, Chef by Grace Riley. I think a lot of romance readers would really appreciate this book. It's so fun, very in-depth, very emotional, and it's in a first-person POV, dual POV, and I just had a really great time with it. I would normally recommend Ruinous Ends, but yes, read Immortal Consequences first if you want a standalone and a fun time read who just makes you fall in love with cooking. Read Yes Chef. That is my top 5 book. Top 5 I will recommend to that book. So thank you for listening to me ramble. I'm sorry if I butchered some words or names. English is hard English is really hard. Thank you for listening to me to the end of the video. Hit like, subscribe, and comment below on any books you want to read in the future if this is helping you choose your future reads. I'll see you in the next 5. Thank you.